If I were to pick just one creative skill I've learned in order to spark that magic into my imagination, it would be sewing. Many experts say that one of the best ways to motivate yourself is to get ready for the day, even if you're spending time at home. This can work for creativity as well, because what and who you surround yourself with acts like a conduit for creativity. But what you wear is just as important as putting clothes on in the first place. Many times your clothes are simply following trends in order to fit in socially, or because that's all that's available in stores. And following trends can do the opposite for creativity, because it's not your authentic self. To trigger that authentic self, you have to wear clothes that you are drawn to, that spark something in you when you put it on, that makes you feel fresh and unique and special. For some, it might be a favorite shirt that just seems to fit perfectly no matter what. But for others, they might need something you just can't find in your everyday store, something a little different. Sometimes you can be so trapped in your story of yourself that you need to feel like a completely different person in order to break free from that story. I didn't learn to sew until I was an adult, and to be honest, I'm a little awkward at it. I watched my grandma, my mom, and then my sister sew and appreciated their skill, but wasn't really ready to learn myself. I learned mostly from blogs. YouTube was not as proficient back then, and I wish it were. It would have been much easier. But blogs were the way. And of course, asking my family questions. And I learned on a little baby blue sewing machine that I bought at a Black Friday sale. It really took very little money to learn. And when I did, the doors opened for me. With a little experience reading a pattern, I could then alter clothes to fit better, create clothes I saw in movies, and build an entire wardrobe of unique clothes and outfits. I learned ways to save pennies too. The fabric stores will have sales on patterns for just a couple of dollars, and I'll stock up. And I haunt the clearance section for fabrics that would work for these patterns. I've even used a tablecloth from a thrift store for fabric. There are ways to make fabulous clothes for very reasonable amounts if you look around and, of course, get a little creative. Sewing allows you to pick out items with a fresh slate. It completely opens up the possibilities to create the things that represent you and spark that creativity. For me, it's vintage and cottage style clothes. They make me feel different enough that it allows me to step out of the box that I've surrounded myself with in order to keep me and my thoughts and ideas small. Story I tell myself that there is nothing special or different about me, and that's why I'm not creative. But once you have the ability to create the clothes that spark and inspire that light inside you, that take you out of that box, there's no telling what might happen next. And that's where the magic begins. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed that and helped you out in some way. A couple of pieces of news, and I apologize if I sound a little clumsy. I'm trying to do it without editing out all the ums and clumsiness, but at least trying to make it a little bit audible. But I promise nothing. I'm still learning at this. So, news. I added several Peggies to my site. Some of you might be familiar with them. Others, it might be brand new to you. Basically, they are several Peggy sets that have been retired in the past several years that I had around, and I decided to bring them back. Lots of people had asked about them, and so I decided this year for Christmas time only, I was going to bring them back to the shop. So if you want to check that out, you can go over to tiffanyleestudios.com and check out some of the new Peggies. It's going to be under the From the Attic section. So, and I have a new blog post. It is about my adventures in apples. I picked a bunch of apples this year, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into as far as how many apples I ended up with and what I could possibly do with it. And I was peeling a lot of apples. And this is before I even thought about the fact that I actually have an automatic peeler. in my house and I was peeling them by hand. So that's a story for another day, but if you want to read about my adventures with apples, then you can also find that on my blog under Stories from Babbling Book Farms. As far as anything else, I hope to see you real soon. I'm trying to get these out every 2 weeks, but they may be slower if crazy happens. It is the holiday season, so yeah, it's hard to predict how much time I'm going to have on my hands. But hopefully I will see you again in another 2 weeks. In the meantime, you can like and subscribe and comment and all those things. And yeah, I'll see you real soon.